Let's talk about how serious things are getting. This is interesting. We have the story from Fox News. Jonathan Turley says FBI's involvement in alleged theft of Ashley Biden's diary raises legitimate concern. The FBI raided the home of Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe over a stolen diary belonging to President Biden's daughter. The New York Post editorial board, I think, said this is beginning to look like a political prosecution of an opposition journalist. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know the story, Project Veritas apparently at some point came into contact with Ashley Biden is Joe Biden's daughter, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Which I didn't even know he had a daughter until like a week ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So some Veritas journalists came into possession, I believe they did, of the diary, and they said we couldn't corroborate, so we tried turning it over. The FBI raided James O'Keefe's house, I believe it was his house, as well as several of his
to get the diary, was it?
Of reporters. I don't know why. Like what their claim is, they had a search warrant.
Did they get the diary? I'm asking because I wasn't tracking this.
I don't know for sure what their grounds for searching for it may have been. It was part of a federal investigation into the stolen diary of Ashley Biden. The New York Times reported the raid took place early Saturday morning, just days after the homes of two Project Veritas associates were also the subject of search warrants. Quote, why would the FBI be coming in on this? Turley asked on America Reports. Project Veritas said it didn't run the information and notified local enforcement. So there is a legitimate concern when the FBI becomes involved in this type of story as to whether it is going outside of those navigational beacons that we use to judge whether they're acting independently. So I don't know if they were looking for the diary. Perhaps they were. A lot of people are saying this proves the diary is now true. It's legitimately the diary, in which case there's a lot of really messed up stuff in there.
So that I was just going to say, can I play devil's advocate real quick?
Yeah.
They might, maybe, I doubt it, but maybe if the FBI was doing righteous investigations in this case, needed information that's only found in the diary that can corroborate some pretty nasty stuff. Because we know there's an open investigation against Hunter Biden. It's still open in Delaware. It hasn't closed. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, for sure. I'm pretty sure it's against Joe Biden. Like it's Ashley talking about her dad and messed up stuff.
Yeah, a little messed up.
Yeah, messed up stuff.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to believe the FBI heard about the diary and said, we need to get this because it proves Joe Biden did something wrong. But it actually just sounds like the FBI is like, quick, protect the president, go after journalists.
And that's exactly what it looks like, unfortunately.
So this is crazy. Look, isn't the FBI going after the Russiagate hoaxers?
Well, John Durham is. I wouldn't say the FBI is. I definitely wouldn't say Chris Wray and this FBI are doing anything to help correct the wrongs that were implemented under James Comey. But I would say John Durham is by indicting these people and making this information public, which is very different.
So it's special.
It's special counsel.
So this is scary.
It's like 15 investigators that are huddled. They're cordoned off from the rest of the FBI. They don't report to anyone but John Durham. John Durham reports to no one but the Attorney General. It's a pretty close-knit circle, and it's going to keep going.
We can combine a few of the segments we did earlier today. We have the FBI going after Project Veritas. Mm-hmm. We have the FBI having evidence in the Kenosha incident and not releasing it. Apparently, they lost it as aerial footage.
They lost it?
Yeah, they apparently, and then they recovered it recently. Then we've got, apparently there's reports about when it comes to January 6th, the FBI, I could fact check me on this one, guys. They provided information to HBO, but not to the defense or the defendants. So the FBI had information relating to it that wasn't released. It really sounds like the FBI as a whole is like rogue, operating totally politically and targeting anyone who opposes the establishment party, the Democrats for the most part, and their neocon allies.
And that's a hard argument to rebut. And I'll only say this, that a lot of the guys I work with are still there. They're not running it. Every case you mentioned is one of the highest profile cases the FBI is handling right now. So it goes to the director's doorstep, right? Nothing happens in any of those cases without the director of the FBI knowing. And I do still think that at the top of the FBI, there are people that don't want the American public to see what actually happened. They don't want them to see evidence of innocence, like in the Rittenhouse case, where they're talking about the Jan 6 incidences. There's what, like 10,000 hours of footage they haven't turned over to Jan 6 defendants?
Are these people just they're in the cult? They're true believers of the propaganda, or are they the puppet masters pushing the lies?
Here's what I say. I say this about Milley and DOD, and we can talk about all that and all, but 99% of the people who sign up to serve the mission. The very few at the top that have been corrupted, like the James Comeys and the Chris Wrays and the Rod Rosensteins and the like, they think the mission exists to serve them. And that's how I put it to people. And that's the only way I've been able to successfully explain it.
To think that the FBI is doing the right thing here to go after wrongdoing inside the Biden administration is very optimistic.
No, I know. No. I said that's why I said I was playing devil's advocate.
They did hold on to that Hunter Biden laptop for a while.
Yeah.
And there's so many incidences of the FBI looking the other way. I mean, there was documents stolen from Trump, and the FBI never intervened. But they're intervening on this particular case that could make the president look bad. Really shows you that the agency is definitely becoming more and more political, because when you read the headlines, I remember when I read the headline, it sets a chilling effect. It's meant to scare you. It's meant to put fear in people, and actual journalists who are going out there putting their necks on the line, saying that, hey, I'm going to have the FBI break down my door if I try to break a story, a legitimate story. I think the case of Julian Assange also tells that story very perfectly. A man that released documents, tried to do what the mainstream media used to do, and is still in jail for it. I mean, that's a crazy story that I believe has a long time coming for some actual justice that hasn't been there.
Yeah, Julian Assange, a whole nother.
Did you have anything to do with Julian Assange?
Not personally, no. I didn't work on those cases. I probably saw the documents, but I didn't work on them.
It's a good example of where a lot of people who are not, Republicans, not traditional conservatives, thought Trump missed a huge opportunity. There was Ross Ulbricht. There was also Julian Assange, people he could have pardoned, and instead he's like, who did you pardon? Like the former mayor of Detroit, who was like crooked or something.
Yeah.
Some rapper, didn't he?
That's people at the end of the administration, and I stayed through the end, and people, and I was the chief of staff at DOD, running DOD at the end, trying to figure out Afghanistan and everything else. People would be calling me. They'd be like, "Hey, can you get me I know so and so. Can I get a presidential pardon?" I'm like, "What? I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm in the military. Like, I'm not." And also pardons. They have some use, but it's a really dirty business. Every administration always Clinton, Obama, they're pardoning terrorists, they're pardoning cronies.
Why?
Andrew Cuomo, he pardoned a whole bunch of really nasty people
Same
as well
with
right
governors.
before he
Well,
went
yeah.
out of office.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that's
They
what
owe
makes it
favors,
nasty.
I guess, huh? Somebody gave him a kickback or
They
what?
just continue to politicize the apparatus that's supposed to serve the people.
It's money, man.
Well, yeah.
Look, you're on your way out of an executive office, and someone's like, "Hey, in 3 years, I can write you a check for $100,000." You're like, "Pardoned." Boom.
Or remember when I wrote you that check for $50 million back then?
Yeah. I funded your super PAC to the tune of $50 million. Who do you want to pardon? Who? Fill it out to this person.
That's why I wanted nothing to do with that business.
This is crazy about Project Veritas, though. I want to be careful in how I say this, but James O'Keefe is very brave because he's got the most powerful people in the world mad at him.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah. Isn't it weird, though? I mean, you're in the Trump administration. You were in a powerful position, and you were still being assailed, essentially.
Nonstop. When I went over to DOD, I mean, Adam Schiff hasn't given up, and he never will, but that's fine. I know every time he attacks me, I'm doing the right thing. So, he decided to give me his vendetta subpoena for Jan 6. It's going to cost me a fortune, but I know I'm doing the right thing.
That dude is evil.
I got nothing to hide. But
so I don't want you to give away too many details on things you can't talk about, but how does it end up costing you money if they subpoena you?
Lawyers. I got to go hire lawyers, a team of lawyers to go in there and walk me through the entire process of reviewing documents, preparing for testimony, flying them in, then having them there. Got to get clearances turned back on. I used to have a security clearance.
Oh, wow.
All these logistics, you start turning the till.
Why don't they
$500-700 an hour?
So what would happen if you didn't get any lawyers?
Well, no, I mean, that would be dumb because then I'd be going over there unprepared, not ready to testify into not a courtroom, but a venue full of Adam Schiff and his cronies, and that would just go poorly. And that's what they do. They hit you with these, so they take you off mission, like for me, fight with Kash and everything else I'm trying to do. And then they're like, well, it's going to cost them a fortune, so here you go. And here's the kicker, right? No one called me and said, hey, Kash, do you want to come and testify? Will you testify? Have you written a letter? Ask me to do it. I've got nothing to hide. I'll always tell the truth about Jan 6, but they didn't do it on purpose.
So I don't know if you can comment on this, but is this why Steve Bannon is like saying screw off?
I think Steve's got a little different approach to this, and I think he's doing it because he just doesn't care, and he doesn't respect the authority of the committee. Now, whether or not I have respect for any of the members on the committee, putting that aside, I still have respect for the institution of Congress where I used to work, and I would like to actually honor that. But
these people are
they don't.
the definition of evil.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody who actually reads the news and you're an honest person, regardless of your politics, you can recognize Adam Schiff is an evil, evil man.
100%.
And I don't like saying, evil, because I don't like using that word lightly. But I mean, this genuinely, when what did he do? You mentioned earlier he held up an envelope claiming in the envelope as evidence of Russiagate, making it up.
Yep.
We learned in these private hearings, he was like, we've heard all the evidence, and then the transcripts come out, and it's like never happened. He's just straight up lying to people, and they believe
records.
the phone record. He released phone records of an American journalist and you
And me.
Incredible.
Look, it was John Solomon. He's an American, John Solomon, right? American journalist.
Yeah, I know
Adam
John.
Schiff released his private information.
Mine too.
And yours.
Can I tell you what happened after stuff like that, the Jan 6 subpoena and everything like that? I got death threats. I got multiple death threats. I got called the nastiest things I've ever been called in my life, and they asked to cut my head off repeatedly. Not asked. They said, we're going to come cut your head off. Now, I don't care. I can take it, but my family's got to read that, right? It's in, it gets out. It's in the media. But these people on Capitol Hill, they don't care. They don't care. And these people being led by the number one problem in Congress, which is Adam Schiff.
It's a crazy world when you know what's really going on. When you look at the lawyer, I can't remember his name, who tweeted out, as soon as Trump got elected, we're going to impeach him. Then he ends up being one of the impeachment lawyers. They're clearly colluding and planning this from day one, because they are psychopathic authoritarians who don't care about how democratic constitutional republics are supposed to work.
Well, they do if it works for them, but not if they lose.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.